Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Sweetie, and I'm an Ashes of Creation alpha tester. I've been testing Ashes for the past, I don't know, it's been a couple months now. And I just want to give my experiences now that Stephen Sharif with Intrepid Studios has lifted the Audible NDA or the typing or as long as I don't share pictures. So don't get your hopes high that you're going to see new pictures in this video. It's just going to be slideshows, pictures, stuff like that from Intrepid Studios directly that they've already released. But we're going to go over my opinions, my thoughts. I'm going to mix in kind of the pros and cons in a couple different categories like graphics and combat, and just kind of just share what I think. I don't know if it's going to be a long video. It might turn out to be. But either way, I would really appreciate if you guys subscribed and then like the video, leave some comments about what you thought. If you're an alpha tester as well, why don't you leave your comments and thoughts below and we can have a discussion, stuff like that. So let's jump right into it. So I'm starting off with the graphics. A lot of people already see the graphics, I think, and see them as being pretty top-notch. And honestly, I agree. I think this game is beautiful. I really wish some of the pictures and screenshots I took of this game from, I've just taken some beautiful pictures, and I really wish I could send them out. They're like 4K screenshot, what am I saying? Background for your desktop quality. They are beautiful. Oh man, they're great. The flowing water throughout the whole world, everything, all the water rivers flow. There's creeks, there's big rivers. The ocean is massive. I don't know if it's an ocean or a gulf. Someone else would have to correct me. But there's big waves going on, and there's some boats and stuff out there. Nothing too exciting, really, for the boat end of it. I wish they had some boats in it. I can't wait for this month-long test coming up. So graphics are top notch. There's beautiful visual effects. Just random little what are they, little pixie stuff just floating through the air. The way the light shines through the trees, coming straight down, projecting shadows and stuff. I mean, I was totally blown away at one point where I honestly feel like there was some sort of weather cycle going on. Maybe I'm wrong, but it got really foggy in this one area for a while. Totally just it was a thick fog. And the other two people I was playing with in the testing, they also commented, yeah, they saw the fog as well, so it wasn't just my client. But it was really beautiful because the sun would come in, and I felt like when we got high enough on the mountain, it kind of cleared a little, so there was more sunlight. There's all these little details like that in the environment. All the beautiful trees. Whoever did the detailing on the environment in this area, the pine trees, there's orange and yellow trees, kind of like oak trees, I guess. I'm not really sure on trees, so I don't know. They were beautiful. There's these big pink trees in the desert area, which were beautiful. The jungles were pretty lively. You could tell that the jungle area, which is a newer section, like the last 2 months was released to testers, wasn't as polished environmentally as the main hub island has. There was a lot of trees where how do I describe it? They were put high up on a rock face, and you could see up the bottom of it, up the skirt, where there's just no detail or anything. So you could just see straight through, which it's not that big of a deal. They could go back and literally put a bottom to it or just move the tree slightly. But this game has so many beautiful locations. I can't wait to just get a boat and just sail the 7 seas or however many seas there are in this game and just go out and explore the world. It's truly beautiful. Going off of the environment, I can't talk. I could spend all day talking about the environment. It's beautiful. Towns are beautiful. Nodes as they level up. Especially we had the level 3 nodes. There's so much going on in there, not necessarily going on, but there's all these little details. There's fire pits, there's buildings that you can go to the 2nd floor or the 3rd floor. There's just so much going on. But instead of me rambling on for 30 minutes about the environment and going too much into detail, you can always ask questions in the comments. I could do a whole follow-up video. I'd love that. I'll move on to character movement and combat animations. So the character movement was pretty good. There were some wonky things, they didn't have certain, getting on and off of horses was kind of just I think your character just kind of stood suddenly and the horse was there and then it disappeared. You didn't necessarily dismount unless I was bugged and I didn't see it, which is very possible. There were very minor bugs. Like every once in a while, um, I was riding horseback with two other guys, or sorry, one other guy. The other one didn't have a horse. And while he was on a horse, one piece of the armor would just get stuck in the environment, and then have that long, super elongated piece of texture, or whatever you want to call it, and then it would just snap to the person, and then it would do it again, and it was like twice it did that in 3 days, so it was really nice. Um, yeah, other character animations with the combat. I played as a tank almost the entire time. I really don't care. I'm a tank. I'm a guild leader. My job is to be support character or tank leader of the raids and stuff like that. So that's why I'm a tank. So I only played tank all weekend. And which I will say there was a tank, cleric, and mage, while we're on the topic of professions. There was only like 7 abilities each. You could put points into some. Leveling was super hard, so I only got to like level 4 or something. I didn't try necessarily too hard. I just did a lot of exploration. Um, but yeah, so the animations were super fun for the tank. There's actually this one thing I like to do, and I did this in Star Wars: The Old Republic with my Guardian tank. You jump off of something, like a rock or whatever, go down almost a cliff, and then do your, in Star Wars, it's a force leap attack as a Jedi. But in this, they have like a charge attack as well. So I would do stupid tricks like I would jump off of a cliff, target an enemy, click it, and then would like charge up through the air. Um, just to attack the enemy. I don't know why I love doing that. It just seems cool. Like I'm midair and I do like a double jump, like I'm playing as, or triple jump, like Pikachu in Super Smash Brothers, the original one, or something crazy like that. But I love that animation. I love the slashing of the tank. It felt really good. I really didn't use all the abilities. The charge ability was super fun, like I said. There's a poison attack, which was, I mean, it was just a poison slash, nothing exciting. They have improved greatly on the combat and the movement. I'm kind of switching to combat here. Um, and the animation, because before the earlier testing, I would slash as a tank with the basic attack, and I would kind of slide through um, the enemy, and then I'd have to do a 180 to do it to attack, because in this game there's a lot of directional attack. So if I have a sword, I've got like I don't know, a 90-degree arc in front of me. I assume from how they described, if I had a pull, not that silly alarm. If they had a pull, you would get a wider arc, or if you had um, bows, might have like a shorter, like V more shape cone, stuff like that. So it depends on your weapon, the arc, and you can get like 3, 4 enemies you can hit at once. Um, if they are all lined up nice in front of you as a tank, so you can do some spread damage, almost like AoE damage. There was a fire attack I had as a tank where you basically hit the ground and like fire shoots out. I didn't have that much and it cost a lot of points, so I kind of diverted it to the other abilities. It's the poison ability, or I shouldn't say it was poison. It was more of a it was a dot. It was a bleed basically. You just lacerate. I think it was actually called lacerate your enemy. So, but yeah, the animation was great. They tweaked it so I don't have to rotate anymore. Like, there's collision too with enemies and players. Every player has collision against each other, even teammates and parties. So I was able to just put myself right in front of the enemy and just fight into them, and I wouldn't turn around. Um, Very rarely did I have to keep reorienting myself in combat. That was really nice. The visuals were great on the combat and the attacks. Um, Super cool. Super loved it. What else? I guess while I'm on the topic of combat, I'll just switch to it. Like I said, I was the tank the whole time. I didn't get too far down the tree, only level 4, so I had a bunch of points scattered, mainly focused on 2 abilities, the poison and the charge, which are actually the first 2, I believe, given to you. That was from this weekend specifically. There's been other instances where we were able to do like they instant leveled us to 10 so we could try everything. So like the tank has a cool ability, and I didn't get to test it a lot, but it's basically like an invincible shield pops around you, and you kind of get like a little visual, I believe it was, like a shield floating around you, and you take like next to no damage. I'm trying to think what else the tank had. Tank had a pull ability, like a what I'm trying to think, like a harpoon in Star Wars: The Old Republic for a Vanguard, or like a force pull in a bunch of other games. So it had, it has a pull and a charge. So there's two distance closing abilities. I really think the charge will be good for PvE because it has a knockdown. Good for PvP too. But the pull ability I only see really being useful in PvP because usually a boss in PvE doesn't have, like, you can't pull them. You can't just be yank and then throw them off a cliff. They usually have blocks to that, so I don't see that being too useful unless it has like a hate generation, or a threat generation, which I did not pay attention if it did. There's a couple other abilities like a mace throw, or there's an axe throw attack. Even if you didn't have an axe, it just like threw a little axe or weapon. Other minor stuff. And the way basically that you get these skills is you start with nothing. Everyone starts with the Q. Q key right now is what's bound for your not auto attack, for manual basic attack. So you can spam Q just to keep slashing. Or if you're like I'm trying to think. The cleric, I believe, had a mace, and then the mage had a wand. And it's both Q is the auto attack. And as you level throughout the level, you don't have to get to like level 2 to get all your skill points. You actually were getting skill points throughout of level 1 and until you hit 2. So that way you could actually put skills in. Like if you're level 1.5, you had 4 skills to use, skill points. And the way the skill tree was set up was basically you had a window with 3 sections. The middle section was the only one that was active that was for your abilities. And you can put points into it up to 3 right now. Which is fine. I mean, they're testing it, and I honestly couldn't tell the difference between leveling them up and leaving them at 1 and leveling them. So I don't know if that's fully working, but that's fine. But they had the middle one, and you put points in. Like the second tier was unlocked at 15, third tier was locked at 20 points, last one was at 25 points, something like that. So you had to level up in the game to just start unlocking and getting more skill points, which is pretty standard for any video game. Especially MMO for the most part. So it's not a surprise for me. But they did have 2 other sections that were grayed out, which actually I think are pretty interesting. One is a weapons section. I can't remember if I saw any detail on the pictures or anything, but the way I saw it was you get 1 skill point pool to put your points in, and you can put them in any 3 categories. So if I wanted to really focus on swords or shields, let's say I do shields. That's an option. I don't know. Well, I want to be the strongest tank there's ever been in on this Vera. I could stack all my points into tank, shield, and then I could put the rest into another category. Is how I kind of understood it and how I saw it. I was as a tank, a mage, or a cleric. There's a ton of different options. So I feel like, a tank might have a short sword, long sword, shield, pole arm, maybe anything melee oriented they could use, maybe even a ranged arrow, bow and arrow, as an extra option if you want to get some ranged in. I don't remember, like, I know for cleric and mage there's a bunch of options, but I can only speculate it was like scepters versus wands and stuff like that. And then the third section was the passive section. This is how I kind of understood it, or how I'm thinking it's going to work, is it is the, like, you're putting points into your health here, or your action bar, your mana, maybe how fast you run, stuff like that. Stats that you don't see up front, and that are not part of a gear, and just in the background, it'll always be there permanently. So if I'm a tank, this is what I've done before. I'll stack everything in the weapon defensive category, is my thinking, and everything I can in the health category on this side, or dodge, or parry, or whatever defensive abilities. Max those out and barely touch anything else and just become an impenetrable wall. And the way that you can use collision in the game, I think for PvP is going to be great, because if you've got a tank that's running around literally making a physical wall between your team's healer and the enemy, and you make that wall in the middle, you might be able to absorb a hell of a lot of cone damage. If you can put a wall like that, where my dream is, if say a mage shoots a cone attack out, and I'm the tank and I stand right in front of my medic, can I just absorb all the damage while all the other damage goes around me? I don't know if you get what I'm saying on that one. Maybe I'll do a doodle on that. I don't know. But that's kind of the skill tree and how it's set up. There's only like 7, 8 abilities per class right now, if I remember. I don't see that all those abilities are going to be just tank. The ones I saw, I could see some getting stretched out to like fighters and stuff like that. So it was a melee character is basically what I played. They shouldn't have even called it tank, but that's kind of the combat. It was pretty fun. I only really died when there was some crazy mobs out there that were like level 15 that would just wreck you in one shot. There was a couple giant flaming dragons, which would, they had low, like 2,000 health, I want to say, but their damage was crazy. It was unbelievable. I don't know how much it did, but it did like 500 to hit, and I think my health pool was 380 something ish. So I didn't survive. But otherwise, combat super positive. I had some mixed comments from one of the other guys I was playing with, and he did not enjoy the cleric or mage, but he liked the tank. And it's funny because he hates melee classes. He hates it. He's always a ranged healer, and for him to say that the healer class sucked was kind of like, oh, I don't know if he's going to play necessarily. And he knows it's an early alpha, so he does understand it. He just was hoping for more. So, which I get, like, I get his point. So, moving on to questing. So, they had some quests running. A lot of them were broken or had really impossible, not impossible, but highly unlikely of completing bosses. Like, Ice Dragon was one. Like, I don't know, you had to get 10 ice from it, ice crystals. I don't know if you had to kill it 10 times. I don't know. But a lot of the quests could not finish. There was no NPC at the end of the marker for me, which I was like, which wasn't a big deal. Like I get it's alpha, and everything I'm saying here, like just remember this is all alpha. Especially this questing part is going to be a little rough on them. But they had, they had a quest. Just finding quests sometimes were hard. You had a green character that'll talk to you. Was generally what they had, and they would have like a gold yellow shimmer to indicate they had a quest for you, or they had something to give you, something like that. It was really hard sometimes to tell who had what. And some just always had it going. Even after you talk to them and they say, I've got nothing for you, they still had the shimmer. So I assume a bug. Or the gold shimmer just means I'll talk to you, which then is just kind of silly because why am I going to talk to somebody that says, I have nothing for you? So that was that. Kind of a con there, but it's early. Their waypoint system and questing menu was really hard to use. Like things wouldn't line up, quests would update, but then not show the proper info. Sometimes wasn't horrible. It was annoying basically. But just trying to like they did have a waypoint system where it would basically put like a fancy arrow pointing at the ground where you were supposed to go. It would only stay up for a little bit, like 30 seconds maybe. So if you got distracted and ran away, it would disappear. And there's nothing on your screen to point you in the direction of the arrow. If anyone's ever played Star Wars Galaxies, they had a great little system where, like, in the center of your hub, these arrows would kind of float around in the direction of your waypoint. You could turn them on and off if you wanted them. And they would kind of just point, like, oh, over this way. And you could see really quick, it was a small little arrow, blue arrow, yellow, or whatever color you set it. And it would kind of just angle you that way. And then you would turn, and if you were close enough, you would see the waypoint, or you could just use a little arrow to put in front and guide you. And then eventually you saw a giant blue towering like light coming out of the ground. And I thought that was perfect. That's a perfect waypoint. I never felt like it was out of place, I guess, for the game. Even though it did seem like a very fantasy-themed waypoint, I think it would actually work really well in this. But this one, they just have that green arrow, and it's really, like, it's really tiny. I've got a 32-inch screen, and it was just a little speck off in the corner all the time if I wasn't really paying attention for it. And it's also kind of dull color, so it was really hard to see. But early alpha, it's not the end of the world. What else? So, the map for questing. The map, some of the quest points were in the wrong spot, or I assume they were in the wrong spot, or there was no NPC there, but some of the details were like, hey, go to the grasslands, and then the waypoint, or the little red diamond where the waypoint is, would be in the middle of the ocean, or the Gulf of Vera, or whatever it is. So that was kind of annoying. There was a bunch of quests I don't think I could really complete because of it. But the map overall, it's literally just like an artistic drawing of the world. I don't know if it's how they're going to do the end map, which I'd be fine with visually if I could zoom all the way out, see this beautiful map of the world, and then zoom in to get some more detail. As long as the features on the map work fine, I'm totally cool with it. But the one real positive about the questing was that I had, I went into, there's this cave you get pretty quick on the questing line. You basically got to go save some guys. They're fighting raptors in a cave or something like that, or spiders. And my buddy and I, we went in, Anders, he's on Twitch, by the way. We went to the cave, we were going through, and at the entrance of the cave, there was a woman, I believe it was a woman, who wanted to get 5 flowers to be turned in. And she kept saying, hey, don't get more flowers than you can. Don't touch anymore. 5. 5 is the most, that's all I need, 5. So we went in the cave, we did all of our stuff, and at this point there was some rubber banding bugs going on, which I'll talk about, which is kind of making it impossible to do this, but we still got the flowers. And then on the way out, Anders thought, hey, let me get a 6th flower. So he picked up the 6th flower, and then his health just, and he was dead. He picked up too many flowers, the quest failed, and it was gone. He did not listen to the text. He thought it was just a whatever suggestion. You know how some quests say, oh, I only need 20, but if you get 50, I don't care, I only want 20. But he died. And that's what the quest said. If you pick more than 5, you'll die or horrible stuff will happen. I thought that was great. Like, he went out, he didn't follow directions, they said it was bad, he totally just died. Or there was a bug coincidentally at the 6th flower. But it was perfect. I thought it was great. I wish the quest had updated or he could still do it, unless it was like a daily. I don't know. But oh man, that was great. He just died. So that is what it is. So more quests like that, please, please, please. You know, if you don't finish the quest, something bad happens to you. Maybe you get one chance at killing something, and then you fail at it, and it disappears. You're not in the time limit, and then you get back, and the quest giver punches you or something, and like takes a quarter of your health away, or something like that would be totally cool. I would love that. Something small that's not going to be like, you ruined my day type of stuff. Like, oh, you killed me. Whatever, you know, that's not that bad. But actually, I shouldn't say it wasn't that bad. In this testing, the XP penalty was unbelievable. I think this is the first time they had it, or I've never died. But there was some rubber banding issues where you think you were 100 feet in the distance, you bounce back and you're dead because something killed you where you actually were. And the XP penalty got ridiculous. I think it was way too high. I don't think you should have XP penalties for a weekend test. I'm saying this to Ash's team, the Intrepid team, to Steven directly. Like, you shouldn't have such a penalty in an early test like this, because especially with bugs. Like, I heard people in chat. I think I saw on Discord a couple times, and the 2 people I was playing with both quit their characters they were on and re-roll new ones because their XP penalty was almost a full bar. It was like 3/4, and they're like, it's not worth it. I'll rather get to level 3 pretty much instantly, is the way it was set up. But like turning a couple talking quests and you're level 3 almost, versus having to work off an entire level of XP death and then level up. Like, that was way too much. So next time, unless you're doing like that month-long test where you're really going to keep it persistently for a month, that's fine. Cool. But not during this weekend test. And especially when they wiped our characters on Saturday, that was a lot. I'm talking a lot, wow. And so the only 2 bugs that were prominent in the game, besides like quests not really being there, there was horrible, horrible rubber banding the first day. Significantly better the second day, virtually not there the third day. Very rarely happened. And a bunch of people I know I was playing with were super frustrated by it and just stopped playing, which they should have at least tried. Like, I put my character on auto run for a while just so they got data on me rubber banding and seeing it. Literally a straight line through the ocean, everything, whatever, just so they got my data. It sucked. It made it really unfun, especially with the XP death, or penalty, I should say, when you died. But it was fixed, and they were really quick to work on it, and they acknowledged it fast, and that gives me a really high hopes for the future launch of this game and their understanding of things and their listening to things. Like, I could see the game launching and there being a really silly thing in the game that's really a negative for the game that a lot of people don't like. And I could see them patching it like a week later, like really like stopping everything they're doing and focus on fixing this just because so many people are vocal about it. So that was that bug, that was a crappy one. The other one was so it's like a combo bug. So there was a horse bug, basically where it thought you were in water. You didn't necessarily have to go through water, but if you did, it was almost guaranteed it would happen. So it just thought you were in water swimming. So it meant you couldn't dismount, which I think should be fixed. You should be able to dismount in water, or in pretty much any other state from your horse. Like, why am I locked into a horse? If I'm in the water, I'll just swim, you know. Or if you were going real fast on a horse, like once I went to the top of one of the mountains, pulled out my horse, shot down it, did my speed boost, and then I kind of ramped off of a rock, shot off, and then I was in the water somehow, and then landed and never could get off until I did I logged in, basically. So that wasn't the end of the world. It was more annoying. That's something I'm totally confident they're going to fix. I feel it has something to do with the rubber banding. But here's the fun part of that. Anders and I figured out how to purposely go in the water, do some jumping and everything, and make our horses fly, or our characters fly. So the first day when there was real bad rubber banding, we were able to basically get our characters to the top of the map, just below the clouds, while we were swimming the whole time, but just holding the space bar. When it crossed the ocean, figured out how to land in the water and just land safely, and then we crossed the ocean while flying. It took a bit because of rubber banding. The further away we got from people, it got better, but it was super fun. Then we figured out how to do with horses. Basically a similar, process. We were flying around the map with our horses. I don't know if anyone saw us. I think other people figured it out too, or just stumbled upon it. But it was super fun, and I really, really hope they have flying in this game. It's the only game I've ever felt like this, besides like Star Wars Galaxies with the fighters. But I don't think everyone should have flying, and I think already there is flying planned. It's like Metropolis level nodes and kings, queens of castles. Mayors of the Metropolis and kings or queens of castles. So it's going to be limited. I think there's only like 5 or 6 Metropolises possible. So let's say 5, and then there's only 4, 5. I think there's 5 castles. So that's only 10 people total are going to be able to fly in the entire server at once. I think it should be expanded. Maybe a couple maybe the leaders of all the guilds that are part of the defense of a castle maybe could get it. Like a council type deal. Maybe some, people at some officers at a node, Metropolis node, spread the love. But this game is so beautiful. Flying through it would be just amazing. So that's kind of all the stuff I had. If you guys have other stuff you want to talk about or ask questions, anything, I played all 3 days. I've been playing for the last several months. I've been in quite a bit of the testing. Every time there's testing, I get on, even if it's like an hour. Honestly, I've gone on it for 5 minutes and then they shut the servers down because of a bug. So I've been in it for a bit. I usually keep to myself on Discord so I don't chit-chat too much. Maybe ask some questions, what's going on, things like that. But if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'd appreciate it. And subscribe would make me very happy. So wrapping up with my final thoughts here. Basically, I'm really happy with the game. I can't wait to share with the no NDA visuals. I don't think I'm going to be able to share the videos and stuff I took this weekend. Like at one point there was a crowd in a node of a bunch of naked people on their really fancy mounts. Just doing visual effects and making the horses neigh and the turtles have like globes coming out of it. It was really fun. Um, the combat's fun. I really have a positive about the whole thing. The bugs are actually very minor. Like some of these bugs are equivalent to like launch days in other games, honestly. There wasn't much content quest wise. I think that's more in the 1 month test with the siege battles coming up, which they did have the NPCs in for siege battles. I don't think it was the full build with siege battles. Or my theory is they turned the NPCs off. Siege battles were somewhere, like you would be teleported really far away to them. That's my theory, that it wasn't actually in. I think it was in. They just didn't finish it, which is fine. But I'm really blown away by it. I really tip my hat to the Intrepid Studios team and Ash's Creation. Everyone that's really put their time and effort into it, because it's really enjoyable already. I've got 3 lifetime subs set away. One for me, one for my son, and then a backup. If he doesn't want to play, I got 3. Um, but I see this game going a long way, especially if they keep going at the trajectory they're going, with their real focus on the people, the player base, making a fun game. As long as they stay honest with what they're focusing on, I think things are going to be great. I can't wait for them to get back in studio, and I think they're going to really ramp up. The fact that they've all been in their own houses doing all this work for the past year or ish has been really a testament of their capabilities. So, I really think, we're getting close. I really think we could see, Alpha 1 is going to be right now in July. I could see Alpha 2 being November, December-ish time. Probably November, maybe October. Maybe October at the earliest. And then I could see like Beta 1 being February, March, and then a Beta 2 right before launch next summer. That's my optimistic expectation, but it's also, or not expectation, but projection. But that's also my like conscious thought of what we're going to be at. Um, so that's my hopes. We'll see. Um, yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on this alpha stuff. Like I said, any questions, leave in the comments. I'd be happy to to share everything I have. Also, I am the guild leader of BMF. If you're interested in joining a Ashes guild for North America, bmfguild.xyz. It's a unique name or website address there I found. I'll put the link down below so you can find it. If you want to apply, take a look. We're really small right now, not too small, but we're trying to build up. We're getting ready for the launch and take over some nodes and some castles and all that fun stuff. So if you're interested in that, please follow. And like always, subscribe. Would really appreciate it. Hit the like button. And check out my website and anything else going on. So at squeedy.com. So that's it. Thanks, guys, for watching. I really appreciate it. Thanks for listening to me ramble for 30-ish minutes. And have a good one, guys. Bye.